from New York City is Mike Bako. He's the sports editor at dailynational.com. Great to have you on the show again, Mike. Now, the Asian Winter Games are being held for the first time since 2017. Can you tell our international audience what the significance of this is?
Yeah, the significance is just the unity of everyone coming together. I mean, you're talking about 1,300 athletes, 64 different countries and nations, North Korea and South Korea and Japan, and a whole host of others, and really a platform and an opportunity for countries to participate in these winter sports and sports that they're not so familiar with, but sports that they're trying to grow in their own countries, and sports that in a longer term sense, this is really where the Olympic ideal and the Asian Games ideal comes in, where these are just games and these are athletes that are participating, but hopefully the interest will grow at home and they could create small industries and small pockets of these athletes that can grow, not just for the next games, but talking about decades to come.
And as you mentioned, 34 countries, over 1,200 athletes participating. What does this mean for the region as a whole, do you think?
I mean, it's a wonderful, example of sports bringing a lot of people together. It's a wonderful example of even when you think that a nation wouldn't be good at a particular sports. Philippines, who even knew a decade ago that they knew anything about curling, and yet they upset one of the major players in the curling competition. You have the Philippines, you have Qatar excelling in curling, Thailand. So all of these nations that are putting their best foot forward, that's really what this competition is about. It's a step down from the Olympic Games in terms of sponsorship and money and participants, but it's really that precursor that shows which nations and which athletes should set their sights on the upcoming games.
So in that sense, the Olympics doesn't form as a qualifier for the Olympics in any way. It's more of a preparation game.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's all done under the Olympic rules. So the National Olympic Committees of each of the nations pick the teams, they pick the participants that will go to the Asian Games that are participating. It's not a qualifying round or anything like that. That all still comes under the guise of regions and different Olympic committees. So they are separate. But as USOC President Thomas Bach mentioned in that sound clip before, it is great to just see this many athletes, great to see another athletic event that is prospering as well.
And as you say, these winter-style sports are growing in some countries in the region. We've got, nations from warmer climates that have never competed at the Winter Olympics before. What does it say about the popularity of these kinds of sports and, the impact and influence of this sport in the region as a whole?
Yeah, we've been reporting on this for quite a while when it comes to even China hosting the Winter Games, where they had to build this gigantic infrastructure just to teach the grassroots level, students in schools, about some of the winter sports. And it might not be on the same scale as in places like Thailand and then Philippines and some of those warmer weather locations, but at least they're getting the exposure to it. They're getting the experience of it. They're seeing it in the news reports, and that news will get back home onto the athletic committees there. And even if it is at a small grassroots level, that's where it needs to start. You can't just kind of say that, hey, it's never going to happen for these nations, because on a small scale, it will grow. And again, this isn't for the next games or this games. These are to kind of grow the games over the next decade or two.
And China is expected to have standout success here, but it is missing Gu Ailing, the double Olympic champion and the face of the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. What could that mean for China?
Well, what it means is that the biggest star of these games is going to be on the sidelines, getting injured during the X Games here in the States in Aspen, and then was on her way to participating in these games, but then got hurt in training. So basically what it means now is that the field is open. There's slightly less of a media focus on the events that she would have been doing, but now that opens up the field, and it could create an environment where someone else could come to the forefront, not to supplant her, but to get that media attention, because she would have had all the eyes on her, all the talk on her. We're even talking about her not participating. So again, she was the odds-on favorite. This could open it up for other athletes and other nations to make their stamp on these games.
All right, Mike Bako, we'll leave it there. Really appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure. Thanks.